You know what no one talks about? How becoming better can hurt so much. Everyone posts about the results, the glow up, the success, the perfect habits, but no one posts about the nights you cry yourself to sleep because you feel like you're losing everything. No one tells you about the confusion, the loneliness, and the quiet battles you fight when no one is watching. When you first decide to change your life, it feels exciting. You picture the person you want to become. You picture yourself happier, stronger, more confident. And for a moment, it feels like everything is possible. But then the real work begins. The discomfort sets in. The fear shows up. And suddenly you realize that becoming better isn't just about adding new habits. It's about tearing down old ones. It's about letting go of who you used to be. And that part feels like grief. It feels like leaving behind a version of yourself you've known your whole life. It feels like walking into a place you've never been before with no map, no guide, and no promise that it will work out. But here's the truth. If it feels heavy right now, if it feels scary, if it feels lonely, that's not a sign you're failing. That's a sign you're growing. Because growth is supposed to stretch you. It's supposed to challenge you. It's supposed to break you open so you can rebuild stronger. So if you're in that season where growth feels heavy, where you feel like no one understands what you're going through, I made this for you. Because you are not alone. And the pain you're feeling right now has a purpose. Point 1. Growth forces you out of your comfort zone. When you first decide you want to become better, it feels exciting. You think about the person you want to be, the life you want to live, and for a moment it fills you with hope. But very quickly, reality hits. Growth isn't just about setting new goals or buying a new journal. Growth means leaving behind everything that feels safe and familiar. And that is terrifying. Your comfort zone is more than just a place. It's an identity. It's the version of you that you've been for years. It's your habits, your routines, your excuses, your beliefs. It's all the things that feel normal to you, even if they're not good for you. And when you start stepping out of that, your whole body feels it. Suddenly, the life you've always known feels too small, but stepping into the unknown feels impossible. This is why so many people quit at the very beginning. They expect growth to feel empowering from day one. They expect to feel motivated and inspired every morning. But what they actually feel is resistance. Fear shows up out of nowhere. Suddenly you're anxious, overthinking, and questioning yourself. It happened to me. I remember the first time I tried to change my habits. It felt like I was fighting myself. I would wake up motivated, but by the end of the day, my brain would find every reason to go back to my old ways. You can skip just this one day. You've had a hard week. You deserve to relax. This is too much. Maybe you're not cut out for this. And if you've ever heard that voice, you know how convincing it can be. That's because your brain is designed to keep you safe, not to make you grow. It doesn't care about your goals. It cares about survival. And to your brain, anything new feels dangerous, even if it's good for you, even if it's the exact thing you've been praying for. And here's the part that no one tells you. The fear and discomfort you're feeling right now are not signs that you're doing something wrong. They're signs that you're doing something right. They mean you're moving forward. They mean you're finally stretching yourself. Think about a seed. Before it becomes a tree, it has to crack open. It has to break apart in the dark soil. If you looked at it in that moment, you might think it's being destroyed, but it's actually beginning. That's what stepping out of your comfort zone feels like. It feels like you're falling apart, but what's really happening is that you're transforming. And yes, it's scary. You'll doubt yourself. You'll feel out of place. You'll have moments where you want to run back to what's familiar because it feels safer. But every time you push through that resistance, you grow a little bit more. You build confidence. You build resilience. You prove to yourself that you can survive discomfort. This is why the first step is always the hardest. Because you're not just fighting the outside world, you're fighting your old self, the version of you that wants to stay comfortable, the version of you that doesn't want to change. But if you can hold on, if you can keep showing up even when it feels awkward, even when it feels scary, you'll start to notice something. The fear gets quieter, the discomfort becomes manageable. And one day, you'll look back and realize that the thing that once terrified you now feels normal. That's the magic of growth. It expands what you believe is possible for yourself. So if you're in that stage right now where everything feels uncomfortable, where you feel like you're walking blind into the unknown, take a deep breath. You're not failing. You're not weak. You're just breaking free from the old version of yourself. And that is exactly what you're supposed to be doing. Point 2. You lose people along the way. One of the most painful parts of becoming better is realizing that not everyone is meant to come with you. Nobody tells you how lonely growth can feel. You think people will cheer you on. You think your friends will be proud of you. But often, the opposite happens. When you start changing, you create a ripple. You start doing things differently, thinking differently, speaking differently, choosing differently. And suddenly, you notice something. Some people start to pull away. Some people start making little jokes about you. Some people get distant without saying why. And it hurts. It hurts because you didn't think growth meant losing people you love. I went through this myself. When I started taking my life more seriously, some of my closest friends didn't understand. I stopped doing the things we used to do together. I stopped wasting time, gossiping, complaining, or saying yes to everything. I started focusing on my goals. And little by little, the invites stopped coming. The calls became less frequent. People I thought would be in my life forever suddenly weren't there anymore. And here's the thing. It's not always because they're bad people. It's not always because they're jealous or toxic. Sometimes they just don't understand this new version of you. Sometimes your growth feels like a mirror to them. It forces them to see what they aren't doing in their own life, and that makes them uncomfortable. Other times, it's simply because you're moving in different directions. The conversations that once excited you now feel empty. The things that used to make you laugh now feel pointless. You find yourself craving depth, craving peace, craving alignment. And you can't get that with the same habits and the same people you had before. That shift can be heartbreaking. Because you're not just letting go of people, you're letting go of memories, of routines, of the comfort of being understood. And it can make you feel isolated. It can make you question if you're doing the right thing. But here's what I learned. Losing people isn't always a loss. Sometimes it's a clearing. Growth has a way of shaking loose what no longer belongs in your life. The people who can't grow with you fall away so the right people can come in. People who see your vision. People who inspire you instead of drain you. People who push you to be better instead of keeping you small. And yes, it takes time. There will be a season where it feels like you're walking alone. A season where you have to sit with the ache of missing what you used to have. But that season is necessary. It teaches you how to stand on your own. It teaches you how to love yourself without needing constant validation. One day, you'll look around and realize that the right people did show up. People who align with your values. People who celebrate your growth instead of mocking it. People who want to grow alongside you. But to meet them, you have to be willing to lose the ones who hold you back. So if you're in that lonely place right now, if you've lost friends or family support because of your growth, please hear me. You're not broken. You're not too much. You're not doing the wrong thing. This is what growth does. It separates you from what no longer serves you so you can step into the life that does. And even though it feels like loss right now, it's actually making space. Space for better friendships. Space for deeper love. Space for peace. Growth might cost you some people, but it will give you back yourself, and that is a trade worth making. Point 3. The emotional roller coaster. Nobody warns you about how chaotic growth feels. You think it's going to be this smooth, steady climb toward a better life. You think you'll just get better every day and feel proud of yourself all the time. But growth isn't a straight line. It's a roller coaster. And some days, it feels like you're barely holding on. One moment you feel unstoppable. You wake up early, check everything off your to-do list, and feel proud of who you're becoming. You start thinking, yes, this is it. This is the new me. And then, the very next day, you wake up tired. You procrastinate. You mess up. And suddenly, you feel like you're back at square one. It's exhausting because the highs feel so good, but the lows hit so much harder. You celebrate a win and then immediately question if it's even enough. You feel proud of your progress and then beat yourself up for not being further ahead. You get a burst of motivation and then spend 3 days wondering why you even started in the first place. This is the part of growth that breaks most people. Not the hard work itself, but the emotional ups and downs. Because when you're on that roller coaster, it's easy to believe the low moments mean you're failing. You start telling yourself stories. I'm not good enough. I'll never get this right. Maybe I should just quit. I've been there. I've had nights where I just sat on the floor, staring at everything I still needed to do, and wondering if any of it mattered. I've had mornings where I didn't even want to get out of bed because the thought of trying again felt too heavy. And yet, those moments were never the end. They were just dips on the ride. What nobody posts online are the breakdowns in between the breakthroughs. The days where you cry in your car. The nights where you feel empty after a big achievement because you expected it to change everything, and it didn't. Growth is filled with these quiet, private moments where you question who you are and what you're doing. But here's what I want you to understand. The emotional roller coaster is part of the process. It's supposed to feel messy. Change isn't meant to be neat and controlled. It's meant to shake you, to challenge you, to stretch you. Every high and low is teaching you something. The highs remind you of why you started. The lows teach you to stay grounded, patient, and humble. Think of it like waves at the beach. They pull you back, but then they push you forward even stronger. Growth works the same way. The setbacks prepare you for the breakthroughs. The emotions you're feeling aren't proof you're failing. They're proof you're alive, proof that you care, proof that you're actually doing the work. So when you hit those low points, don't give up. Don't panic. Don't think the ride is broken just because it got bumpy. Take a breath. Remind yourself that this is normal. And hold on, because the next rise is coming. And it will feel even sweeter because you didn't quit when it got hard. Point 4. Facing your flaws. This is the part of growth that no one really prepares you for. The part where you come face to face with yourself. And not the version of you that looks good on social media or the version you show to other people. I'm talking about the raw, unfiltered version of you. The one you've been avoiding. The one you've been hiding from even yourself. When you decide to grow, it's like holding up a mirror to your life. And at first it feels exciting, until you start seeing the things you don't like, the patterns you've been repeating for years, the excuses you've been living behind, the ways you've been hurting yourself and maybe even hurting others. It's humbling, it's uncomfortable, and honestly, it can be heartbreaking. Because for the first time, you can't just blame the world anymore. You can't just blame your parents, your ex, your boss, or your circumstances. You have to admit that some of the pain you've been living with came from your own choices. I remember the first time this hit me. I was journaling, trying to figure out why I kept ending up in the same situations. And it hit me like a punch. I was the common denominator. It wasn't just bad luck. It wasn't just the people around me. I was choosing these patterns over and over because they were comfortable. And that realization hurt more than anything. This is what makes growth so painful. Because to truly become better, You have to shed the version of yourself that's been keeping you stuck. And that version might have been with you for a long time. You have to unlearn habits you've been carrying for years. You have to challenge beliefs you've been taught since childhood. You have to admit that some of the ways you've been living are not who you want to be anymore. It's like peeling off old skin. It stings. It's like taking off a mask you've worn for so long that you forgot what your real face looked like. And at first, you might not like what you see. You might feel shame. You might feel guilt. You might even feel anger at yourself for not realizing it sooner. But this is where the real transformation happens. This is where you stop being a victim of your life and start being the author of it. When you take responsibility, you take back your power. You stop waiting for someone else to save you or fix you. You become the one who makes the change. And yes, it's messy. You will make mistakes. You will face parts of yourself you'd rather keep buried. But every time you choose honesty over denial, every time you choose accountability over excuses, you grow. You build a stronger, truer version of yourself. One that's not afraid to look at the truth and do something about it. So if you're in that place right now where you're seeing all your flaws, where you feel overwhelmed by how much you need to change, don't run from it. Don't numb it. Sit with it. Let it break you open if it has to. Because on the other side of that pain is freedom. And one day, you'll look back and realize that facing yourself was the bravest thing you ever did. Point 5. Sacrifice and discipline hurt before they heal. This is where growth gets very real. Everyone loves the idea of self-discipline, until it's 5 a.m. and the alarm goes off and all you want to do is stay in bed. Everyone talks about sacrifice like it's noble and inspiring, until you actually have to give something up that you love. Discipline hurts in the beginning because it asks you to do the exact opposite of what feels good right now. It tells you to get up when you want to sleep. It tells you to work when you want to scroll. It tells you to say no when everyone else is saying yes. It's uncomfortable. It's frustrating. And sometimes it feels unfair. I've had days where I stared at my phone, wanting so badly to just check out and waste time. I've had weekends where I had to say no to fun plans because I knew I had work to do. I've sat in silence when my old self would have chosen distraction. And if you've ever tried to build discipline, you know how heavy those moments can feel. Sacrifice is even harder, because it's not just about saying no to small temptations. It's about letting go of bigger things. Sometimes you have to sacrifice relationships that drain you. Sometimes you have to sacrifice habits that once brought you comfort, but now keep you stuck. Sometimes you even have to sacrifice parts of your old identity, the way you see yourself, the story you've been telling about who you are. And let's be honest, that process doesn't feel good. It feels like loss. It feels like you're missing out while everyone else is enjoying life. It feels like you're walking through a desert, putting in the work but not seeing the reward yet. And that's where most people quit, because the reward doesn't come right away. But this is how growth works. Just like working out, you feel sore before you feel strong. Your muscles tear a little before they rebuild. Discipline works the same way. The pain you feel in the beginning is not a punishment. It's a sign that something is changing. The first few weeks are the hardest because your old self is still louder than your new self. The part of you that craves comfort will fight you every step of the way. You will have days when you don't see any results and you wonder if it's even worth it. But if you stay consistent, something beautiful happens. One day, you wake up and realize the habit that once felt impossible now feels natural. The discipline that once felt painful now feels empowering. The sacrifice that once felt like loss now feels like freedom. You start to trust yourself. You start to respect yourself. You realize that every choice you made was building a future version of you who is stronger, calmer, and more in control of their life. Sacrifice and discipline hurt, yes, but that hurt is temporary. The results, the peace, the strength, those are permanent. So if you're in that stage where you feel like you're giving up so much and getting nothing back, Hold on. You are not wasting your time. You are laying a foundation that will carry you for the rest of your life. And one day, the pain will turn into gratitude. You'll look back and thank yourself for not quitting when it hurt the most. If you've made it this far, I want you to take a deep breath, because you're doing something incredibly brave. Becoming better is not easy. It's messy. It's uncomfortable. It's painful. You've had to step out of the life you knew. You've lost people you thought would always be there. You've been on an emotional roller coaster that left you drained. You've faced parts of yourself you didn't want to see, and you've given up comfort in exchange for discipline. And yet, you're still here. You're still trying. You're still showing up for yourself even when it hurts. That means something. That means you are stronger than the fear, stronger than the doubts, stronger than the old version of you that wanted to keep you small. Yes, growth hurts, but it's not the kind of pain that destroys you. It's the kind that builds you. It's the same pain that turns a seed into a tree, the same pressure that turns coal into a diamond. You may not see it yet, but every step you take is shaping you into someone you'll be proud of one day. So don't give up just because it hurts. Don't go back to who you used to be just because it's easier. Keep going. Keep showing up. Keep trusting that this process is leading you somewhere better. Because it is. And when you finally look back on this season of your life, you won't just see the pain. You'll see the strength, the courage, the moments where you refused to quit even when everything in you wanted to. That's the real win. That's the real glow up. If this video spoke to you, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need the reminder today. Until next time, take care of yourself and keep walking your path. Thanks for watching.